Hello, friends.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We have had our 3 booths at the Whitehall Antique Mall in Mount Pleasant, North Carolina for about 3.5 years now.
Yeah, we built up over time, though. We started with 1, then we went to 2, and then finally we added the 3rd one.
Yeah.
And 2 and 3 were pretty close together. 1 was about a year apart. 1 and 2 were about a year apart. But now that we have those 3, that seems to be the sweet spot for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are a lot of questions that we get asked in our everyday lives from friends and family, people at shows. And we thought that you might also be curious about answers to those questions.
I know we were. We asked these questions before we got started. Is it worth it? Is it profitable? Are we going to have to spend a lot of time doing it? What's the truth of running a booth?
Yeah. So today we thought we'd sit down and answer a few of those. And once we get done, if we missed anything, if there's something that you're curious about and you want to ask it, and you want us to do a part 2,
yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, we'd be happy to do it.
Oh, that's a long story.
That is a long story. We'll try to condense it. We came from a family, love a good yard sale, love a good flea market.
Yard sales were our lives before this.
Yeah. My grandmother has a yard sale at her home every summer, and she has for a while
ever since I know.
Yeah, at every house she's ever lived in. So it's not just a regional thing. She had, actually, a funny story is she had someone that would always come to her yard sales. And for some reason, I was always the person that was standing outside greeting customers. And he would always come up and say, "Do you have any brass and whatnots?" And every single year that guy came by, what I would not give to have those brass and whatnots that I sold to that man every single year, because I could fill 10 booths with it. But it was in 2015, the height of everybody wanted to be a blogger. I started a home decor blog because I had just gotten my degree in interior design, and I thought, sure, I can do that on the side. It was spoiler alert, it's a lot more work than you think. And a lot more money, but I actually called that blog Brass and Whatnot. So
what she's not telling you is he was real sweet.
He was. I think a couple of years he actually sought me out because I think he was sweet on the deal and less me as a person. But
I don't know.
And actually, she just had a yard sale.
And the guy showed up? Did
he?
I think so.
Oh, well. She also made $11,000.
Now, true, she let people in a week early, but if they got what they wanted and gave donations, just tell me what you think it's worth, people donated. And then by the time the official yard sale started, she had made $2,000. Well, then when the yard sale started for Friday and Saturday, that's when they made the bulk of their money.
Crazy.
I've never heard of such. I was like,
no.
You're lying.
Yeah. No. So it sort of led us into always looking for vintage items. We love vintage. We love the thrill of the find. Sometimes it's just the hunt rather than the actual item that you find. And we'd always talked about starting a business together. But
I lived in Memphis.
Yeah, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it was kind of logistically pretty hard. And we would think of things. We went on vacation together every year. We would try to think of things that maybe we could do apart. It just never worked out. So in 2021, she moved to Charlotte.
Yeah, after COVID, we decided, or am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So after COVID, we decided that if it ever happened again, we didn't want to be apart and be stuck apart. So
yeah,
we just moved over here. I retired and we moved over here.
Yeah. So now we are in the same city, and it made it a lot easier to start. And then when we started shopping together, when you got here, we found that we were amassing quite the collection of vintage items and thought we should start a booth. It would be so fun because that same grandmother also had a booth back in the day. And so we thought, sure, we could do that too.
We'll do that, yeah.
And our name, Wild Honeysuckle Mercantile, we're from Tennessee originally. And so we wanted it to sort of have that southern charm type of connotation to it. And my grandmother had a honeysuckle bush in her yard. And my aunt and I would always have really fond memories of going down there and pulling the stem out and licking it. I'm sure we probably could have died.
I doubt it. I did that too. I think generations have done that.
Yeah, I think so too. But someone will say that you could have died.
They weren't sprayed.
No, that's true. They weren't sprayed. They were just a invasive weed that grew along the fence. But
everybody loved them because they smelled great.
They smell amazing. So always had really great fond memories of that. So I wanted honeysuckle. We started our booth when the farmhouse movement was really big. And so the Mercantile kind of gave it that farmhousey vibe. That's not really what we moved or morphed into, like, as a general feel of our booth.
It still works, though.
Yeah. We still kind of have those pieces in there, but as an overall look, it's probably not what we're about anymore, but still love the name.
I do too. Yep. So that's good enough.
Yeah.
Our original goal, I think, was just to try it and see how it works.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can always move into other things. eBay.
Yeah.
Whatnot. I mean, you can
it's
always...
a good way to establish...
do shows. You have to establish yourself. But the booth is kind of like a good marketing tool, I guess.
Yeah, I would say that.
People kind of, with the videos on YouTube and with our booth when we go to shows, sometimes people look for us, and that's always a good thing, because you're in a sea of sometimes 700 vendors, and you have to be able to stand out somehow.
Yeah.
Short answer is kind of.
Yes.
It depends on your perspective, I guess. I mean, we think we make money, but not enough to pay salaries.
No. It all goes right back into the business.
I mean, I guess if we wanted to pay ourselves a little bit a month, we could, but why?
Yeah.
We need it for inventory. It just makes the business self-sufficient, and our work is getting us to a point where maybe someday, with all of the work streams or the money streams, because you'll have to, if you do this, you will have to have more than one money stream coming in. This value stream is not your be all end all, because
I would find it very hard to believe that anybody could sustain a life off of this,
right? Unless they did something like YouTube or shows or
that's
whatnot, or eBay or Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is going to be your friend.
Yeah. We had someone just recently who came to our booth, bought something, and wrote me afterwards and said, I only found the whiteout because of your Facebook Marketplace post. So there's always people moving to your area, and not everyone is going to know about your mall. You just have to keep on advertising as if they don't know who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
And foot traffic, I mean, there's over 10,000 square feet at the White Owl.
I think 100.
Oh, 100,000?
I think so.
Oh, I'm wrong. Forgive me.
Yeah. I could be wrong. I don't know.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
There's like 4 buildings all put together, and you can very easily get lost in there and turn around the circle and never see everybody. You can't rely on the foot traffic getting to you in the mall. You have to have some sort of way to say, here's where I am. Come look for me. Get a map of the place if you need to.
Yeah.
And then that'll be a good way to get people drawn to your booth in the mall.
Yeah, because you're always going to have good quality competition at a bigger mall. I mean, you're going to have competition, but quality competition.
Right. And there's a lot of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some beautiful booths at White Owl. They do have great stuff there. I mean, they source things from different places than we do.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it great. There's something for everybody.
Yeah. Because you've got rent, inventory costs, whatever your startup costs were, because you can't start a booth with nothing.
Right.
So you got to have those. You got other costs like storage, gas, wear and tear on your car. I mean, it's a side hustle to start out. Probably could end up as more, but when you first start out, you got to build your brand and build your business.
And I would say that if it's not a side hustle, it's one value stream. It's not a it's not you can't rely on it for you couldn't quit your day job over it, let me tell you that.
Yeah, it's probably not as much as you would think. And there's a definite direct correlation between how much time and how much energy you spend on it as to how much you make. And if you have the time, you need to branch out, Etsy, eBay, whatnot, because those are all going to be extra ways to make money, but you need to also not stretch yourself too thin.
Well, to be fair, some of the people who have good quality items are retirees who are just bringing that in as something to do. It's something that fills their time, keeps them out of the house, but it also brings in a little money every month.
Yeah.
And, let us know in the comments if you're in that group and how it works for you, because I'm retired. Jennifer is not. But I wouldn't think that.
But it also stops me from redoing my house every 5 minutes because I can just redo the booth. I mean, I used to be a serial. This room could use a zhuzh. Let me move the furniture around.
She got that from me.
Yeah, I definitely got that from her. Now, I think the booth needs a zhuzh. Just reset it.
And I go, oh my God. I don't think so. just move some plates over there.
Yeah. Definitely going to depend on where you are in the country, what kind of area you're in.
Whether it's a depressed area or an upscale area or a middle of the road area.
Tourist area. Yeah, all of that stuff is going to depend. We have 3 spaces and we pay $150 for each space. We do 2 of our spaces are like stuck together. There's no wall in between. So we have like a double and a single. So 3 spaces. But other places in the area don't have like a flat. They charge per square foot. And
that can get pricey.
That can get pricey. And I don't know. I haven't asked maybe a year and a half. So this could all be different. But I know one place was $3 a square foot. So for that same 10 by 10 that we have at the White Owl, it would be $300. So,
and that was when we were paying $300. We're still paying $150.
We were still paying $150. So
what you want to look at is what is the amenities at the mall? Did they are at the mall you're looking at, like the one in Mooresville? There's restaurants and cafes and and they charge by the square foot. If they have interstate billboards, or do they have, how much advertising do they do? What's their presence on social media? I mean, White Owl's doing a much better job than they used to about being on social media. They're constantly on there now, and
we've gotten a lot more engagement.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the things you want to look at when you're looking at them all, but that's also going to affect the price. So you have to weigh, what are the amenities that I actually need starting out versus do I want to take a chance and jump in and pay for something that may not bring in rent money?
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, like, even in our area, there's the Depot, which I'm sure many of you have probably heard of. I mean, they advertise in Southern Living, for goodness sake. They and Granddaddy's in Burlington, they have billboards on the interstate. So they have to pay for those things, which is going to trickle down to the vendors. You're going to have to pay for those things, but it's also going to get people in that wouldn't have ever found it before, wouldn't have known it was there.
I mean, tourists coming down the interstate, if they see all those billboards, they're going to come in.
Yeah.
And that's all into the price of your booth. So do you want to pay that price based on the cost of the items you can get? And those are just things you need to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And that kind of depends on me sometimes, but most of the time we try to go at least once a week.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes more. On holidays we'll have to go more. If we're fluffing the booth or changing seasons, we'll need to go more. It's never enough. Never enough. And like Jennifer said, the more you put it, the more time you spend there, the more time you're restocking, the more time you're actually over there engaging with customers, the more you're going to sell.
Yeah.
And even when we're there that one day a week, a lot of times people will stop and talk to us, and that creates, good feelings, goodwill.
Mm-hmm. It's a good customer relationship to have.
And I hope that everybody that comes by feels like they're our friend, because that's how we think of people.
That is
the most fun part.
Yeah, the most fun part, because the sourcing is
real.
People. Yeah, it's fun. We do sourcing. We've seen that in our videos. We do thrift stores. We go to auction, estate sales. I
have to say, though, at the thrift stores, we mostly buy our clothes.
That's true. We're mostly shopping for ourselves. We do places, other like shows, like the Pickers Festival. You saw us sourcing there. Family, we've gotten a lot of stuff from people clearing out a few things. People have said, I have this. Can you
sell it?
Yeah. Can I consign it with you? We also do a little bit of wholesale. So like seasonal items or greenery to just give the booth some life. We also do that.
Not too much, though. We don't want only maybe less than 10% of new stuff.
I would say, yeah. Because you want the overall vibe to be vintage. You don't want people to look in and be like, oh, that's just new stuff, and keep on walking.
Or, I know where they got that. I'll go get it myself.
Yeah. For furniture, I'd say 99% from auction. Or
our house.
90%. Because it's a crapshoot, because if you're like me and you don't go to the preview, then you get what you get. But sometimes we've found some really amazing deals.
Oh yeah, some real beautiful items come out of the auction, and some really trashy items come out of the auction. So you got to be really careful.
We've spent.
And also on auctions, the thing to be careful about is people driving up the prices.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure when you're on an auction that you know how much you want to sell this thing for and what your bottom line is, because you don't want to go above that, because the name of the game is to make a little money anyway. You're not going to be rich off an item.
Right.
But a little money is necessary to keep going.
And you also have to factor in whatever the auction buyer premium is.
Right.
Tax, all of that stuff before
that can be high as 20%?
It can be as high as 20%, especially if you use a credit card. So be aware of what you're bidding, plus all of that other stuff, and then what you're going to sell it for before you just get into the heat of the moment and just start hitting that button.
Because it's easy to do.
I've done it too. I've done it. I'm not ashamed to say it. Also, you have to always be looking. I mean, I've been known to, much to my husband's chagrin, made him stop on every road trip we go on.
Yeah.
Every time when we, like, pre you guys moving here even, or like before, like, we're going to Myrtle Beach, let's go to the thrift store. Or we go to Pittsburgh for a game every year. If you follow us on TikTok, you've seen me thrift in Pennsylvania as well. Like, if we go to Tennessee to see family, we will stop at the thrift store. We'll go to Carm. I love that place. We went on that sourcing trip to Raleigh. That's another video that you guys might have seen. Like, always be looking. And you never know what you might
know
find.
what it is you want to buy. I mean, just like for us, when we go to the thrift store and we look at clothes, we know the brands that we want. And we don't buy anything other than those brands. Because, I mean, the point is
quality over quantity.
Right.
Yeah. You have to know what you're looking for, what you want to pay for it, what you're willing to pay for it, and then if
then
it's
the
quality.
negotiation starts. Because I mean, you could say, you go into a thrift store and they'll say, okay, I want $12.99 for that Lily Pulitzer sweater.
Yeah.
Am I willing to pay $12.99 for a $150 sweater? Well, maybe.
Yeah. For myself.
For
For sure.
Maybe not for the booth, especially if it's not vintage.
Especially.
Yeah.
So what's our favorite?
Well, I like to go to Allen's auction.
I do too.
And not because Allen's is...
Allen's is great.
Allen's is great. I have to say, Allen's auctions is great. But they have the cutest dog there, and he loves me.
Yeah. It's a German Shepherd. He is the most pleasant dog ever, and he is so sweet. So pickups are always a little extra fun.
Yeah.
A little extra fun. For thrift stores, If you're in the area,
I love A Village.
yeah, I love West Stanley Christian Ministries.
Yeah.
I do always gravitate towards like a church-run thrift store.
There's one in Denver that I really like. I don't remember the name of it.
Which one?
The
Not
one
Penny Thrift.
No, the other one. The one out on...
East Lincoln. I think that was East Lincoln Christian Ministries.
Oh. They have
The
a
one
couple
with
of
the
stores. They have,
clothing and the
yeah,
furniture. Yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah.
one with the furniture and one with the clothing. I like to go there, but we don't go there much. I don't know why.
They're only open Thursdays, Saturdays, but from like 8 to 12.
Oh, okay.
They're open really
odd hours.
Hours that don't work for our...
Yeah, I like to go to that one.
Yeah, that one's a good one. Yeah.
And occasionally I like to go up to Mooresville to that mall. What is it? That mall name? I'm not very good with names, if you can't tell.
The Antique Mall?
Yeah.
Main Street.
Main Street, yeah.
Yeah.
I like to go up there and look around. They have some really unusual stuff. And plus we can buy paint up there, which is very nice.
Yeah,
and
yeah. That is our paint source.
Yeah.
That place up there. Yeah.
And I mean, they got restaurants. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. My favorite Reese store is Salisbury.
I'd have to say that's my favorite too.
Yeah. They have they do a lot of good staging, so it's good to see stuff.
Although I do like that one downtown too, where that East Lake Bed was.
Oh yeah, the Wendover store in Charlotte. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, yep.
I mean, I have a lot of favorites.
I do too. Assistance League.
Oh yeah.
I did like Assistance League.
Yeah.
That one is downtown Charlotte. Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh, that craft store in Raleigh.
Oh yeah, Scrap Exchange.
Oh,
yeah.
that was great.
Highly recommend. Highly
Oh
recommend.
yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Found all kinds of quilting squares there. All kinds.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Already done.
Half the work. Already
Yeah,
done.
half the work.
And we've shown this and talked about it in a video before. I'll link it in the cards, so we won't spend too much time on this.
I'm not sure that's the best way to do it.
Yeah. If anybody has any suggestions for inventory tracking software that they use, bonus points if it pre-populates your tax forms or like your tax worksheet at the end, that would be extremely helpful.
Yeah.
But we use the Google Sheet spreadsheet. We track our inventory number, item description, the category, where it is, if it's in storage, if it's at the booth, if it's here or at your house, how much we paid for it, where we bought it, when we bought it.
If it's sold.
Yeah.
How much it's sold for.
And what we priced it when we took it to the booth. Because
Right.
sometimes if there's a sale, that's not what it actually...
Right, and also we could have just marked it down.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not moving, a lot of times we'll just go in there and mark them down till they move. And even markdown prices sometimes stay too long that we have to redo them because they faded off. But,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a sure sign that something's been sitting too long if you can't read the pen anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, all of this is right person, right time.
Oh, for sure.
You
Yeah.
have to have, if that thing could sit there, we had a globe that sat there for 6 months?
Oh, probably longer than that. It went in our double booth when we first moved in.
Okay, well.
So that's been over a year.
It sat there and sat there and sat there, and finally, the right person just came along and had to have it and acted like somebody was going to buy it out from under them.
Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace, yeah.
Because that guy was in Charleston and he would have never seen it. Charleston, South Carolina. He would have never seen it if it hadn't been on Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
So, right place, right time, right person, right advertising.
Right cost.
Yeah.
And that's,
Speaking of right cost.
Yeah, speaking of right cost. Well, we price things kind of odd, I think.
Yeah. You always hear that, like, if you're not making 4 times what you paid for it, then you're doing it wrong. And that is so subjective to what it is, what you paid for it, all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and go, what would I pay for this?
Oh, for sure. Because we're also shoppers.
Right.
I mean, you guys have seen it in our videos. We always will look at the White Owl and see if
And I'm a cheap shopper.
if there's anything we need.
My husband said one time, you want things for $10, but you know what? Most of the time you find it for $10, but that's not always true.
Yeah.
I mean, so what we do is we take Google Lens, use Google Lens on it, see what they're saying.
Yeah.
Then we look at Etsy and eBay, and those prices, we just kind of go,
Yeah, definitely take that with a grain of salt. They have a much larger pool of people that are buying from them. So it's about your mall.
Yeah. And then we add that question, what would I pay for it? And so a lot of times it's half of what eBay and Etsy are asking. And sometimes it's right along with it, but
sometimes,
but you just have to know. You have to know your mall. You have to know your market. You have to know your area.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's going to be two people down that could have the same thing as you and be able to price more for it because they've been there a while and they have those little followers and you don't. And somebody's going to go, I don't know about this. That seems high to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for loyalty and people who are buying from you.
And when you're checking eBay and Etsy and all those places, you need to check eBay solds. Right. Because somebody could have it listed out there for a crazy price. And because we hear it all the time. Somebody has something that they want to give us and they're like, well, I looked it up on the internet and it's $350.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, I looked up Pyrex and it was $100,000.
Yeah, I saw that. Somebody had a bowl with the French motif on the front. What's it called?
Spice of Life.
The Spice of Life. And they put it out on eBay.
Was it eBay?
I think it was eBay for $100,000. They didn't expect to get $100,000 out of it, but they thought some silly person might buy it.
Yeah. So you can't look at what people have it priced at because that could just be a pipe dream.
Yeah.
They could just be
or just
out
wishful
there.
thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking.
Or somebody trying to drive the market up. I mean, it's like if somebody else goes out there and goes, "Oh, they're getting $100,000 for this. I'm gonna ask 90. Somebody will buy mine."
Yeah, somebody will think they're getting a deal.
Yeah. And so you don't ever know.
Yeah. And after you've been doing it for a while, you'll kind of know. You won't have to look everything up. You'll kind of know. Like some things that we sell a lot, we know. Oh, this is $20 or
like those long mirrors. We usually sell them between $17 to $20.
Yeah. So after a while, it'll all come pretty easy, and you won't have to look up quite so much. So it won't take you quite so long to price things.
But when we do use a formula on something, we use 2 to 3 times the initial value plus 10%.
Yeah. To account for
the commission fees. Because along with your booth fees, you have commission fees. The mall will probably charge you a small commission because they do your income tax and the sales tax and the advertising and little miscellaneous things. They do like electricity and those kind of things. So they do charge, and I'm not quite sure how much that commission fee can be. I know ours is 10%, but
I think 10% is kind of the going rate, but some malls will also charge a credit card fee on top of that.
Okay.
And we don't have to pay that. But
ooh, we've had a lot of flops.
Oh, we have. And this will also depend on a lot on where you are in the country because what sells in California might not sell in small town North Carolina.
Also, how many tourists do you get? Tourists tend to buy different things. They like handmade items and and just stuff from the area that shows the kind of overall feel and vibe of the area.
Yeah. What would you say are our top selling categories? Artwork,
mirrors,
linens. I remember one summer it was 3 years ago, it was right after we started. I looked at my husband, we were on vacation, and I looked at him and I said, those linens are saving our life right now. Because we were struggling. June is kind of slow for us. And that June, we were struggling. I was on vacation on Facebook Marketplace trying to get people into the booth. And we had some linens that we had gotten from family, and they were saving us. Those were selling every day, but nothing else was.
Yep. And then brass and whatnots.
Yeah, brass for sure.
And surprisingly, vintage clothing.
Yeah, the vintage clothing has been doing well.
Overalls, kind of sweaters.
Those long 90s dresses, people love those things. I do too. Yeah, I've got one that I will never part with. Never. I love that thing.
Seasonal stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. when we pull the seasonal stuff out and we can get a good vignette going, that stuff will sell, especially right out in front, because those smalls are your bread and butter. They're going to pay the rent, and then everything else is just gravy. Yeah. What about flops?
Oh, milk glass.
Yeah, we had so much when we first started because we loved it.
Oh, I collected it.
Yeah.
And I had tons of it.
Yeah. We ended up selling that as a lot to someone.
To a family member.
Because we just couldn't sell it. Now it seems to be coming back
slowly.
So, I don't know.
Clear glass.
Especially pictures.
Yeah, forget about clear glass. It does not sell at all.
I think ironstone, you get into that, like milk glass. I'm like, oh, I collect ironstone. Everybody's going to love ironstone. It's beautiful. I love it. And so,
especially with a beautiful maker's mark on the back.
We went, before we ever had a booth, and we were collecting stuff to get ready for it. We got from auction. I drove all the way to Raleigh to pick it up because it was so beautiful. That thing is still sitting in the booth. Still in the booth. That thing is beautiful. I even looked the last time we were in there, and I looked at the price, and I was like, is there something wrong with this thing? This thing is amazing.
And surprisingly, we had trouble selling farmhouse items.
Yeah. Clothing, though, mostly good, but pants don't sell well.
No.
I think because they're hard to try on.
They're hard to try on, and they're so, I have trouble finding pants. I have to try them on. We don't usually sell pants. Skirts fine.
All day long.
Yeah.
But pants.
Yeah, pants are
hard.
Hats and purses do not sell.
No, they don't. Not for us, definitely.
We have some 1950 purses in the booth. They've been there ever since
we've had those for about 2.5 years.
Need to put something in them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen people put, there's all kinds of things you can do with these things. I've seen people put flower arrangements in them, and we might need to. And that's it. Always be looking at your things to see if you could upcycle them if they're not selling. Repurpose them. Our motto is repurpose, recycle, reuse. Can we reuse this into something else that might be more valuable to people? Look for the value in things, but it's hard to do that sometimes because what I like, I'm beginning to think I have odd taste.
Yeah. When we first started out, we were like, why is this not selling? I love it. And then we realized.
We loved it.
Yeah, we loved it, but maybe we shouldn't have bought it because not everybody else is going to love it. And so you had to get out of that mindset of, well, I love it. I'm going to buy it and put it in the booth because
obviously everybody else does.
Yeah, it might not be somebody that anybody else is interested, or might not be something that anybody else is interested in. You don't.
How would you know what people are going to buy? You don't. You don't. You just kind of watch trends and in your inventory tracker, what sold over the past few months.
Yeah.
Like we know that those oblong mirrors sell for us.
Yeah.
And they sell as fast as we can put them in the booth, and I don't know why that is.
Well, people love mirrors right now. They're also an odd shape, so they fit really well into like a gallery wall. Anything for a gallery wall that's small or oddly shaped that can fill in those like gaps that you get.
Like small artwork.
Yeah, when you're doing a gallery wall, that stuff always sells really well for us. But it took time for us to get to that point to know that's what was selling and why it was selling.
Yeah. I mean, quilts sell occasionally, but not like they did. At first, we could put a quilt in,
and it
would sell. Yeah. But now, it's like they sit there for a while, so we begin to look at other ways to use quilts, especially if they're pretty beat up and there's, and there's not a way to fix them or restore them or.
Yeah.
I mean.
There's that one quilt that we took out because
or if they're not that super old.
Yeah, that we took out because it wasn't selling because it was pretty beat up. And you made that coat out of it and the sling bag that I've been using.
It kind of fell apart, but I mean, there's ways to restore it. I'm going to take that coat and the places where it's kind of just come apart, I'm going to embroider over it. So that will hold it together. And it's still good. It's just not as good as it would have been.
Yeah.
You know?
So we take, because we have the category of everything on our spreadsheet. So we can pull and say, well, what sold this month? Well, what categories is it from? And then you can look at overall trends, see what's selling, what's not. Maybe you want to advertise on Facebook Marketplace or social media something that's not selling to see if it might sell. See if there's any interest in it before you just go nuclear on the whole thing.
And I don't think, isn't there a service that tells you what the trends are, but I don't think you need to pay for that.
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, you can just go on TikTok and look at people doing their vintage hauls and get a good idea of what people are buying, or Instagram or any of those social media. If we said it once, we've said it 1,000 times, it's going to be your friend.
Right. Make sure you're on social media.
Yeah.
And a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And make sure that you're watching what's happening on social media, because, you know, those people are out there too, you know, doing the same things you're doing, and they're looking in their areas and we're looking in our areas, and it's all a big fund of information for you.
Because if you have things that aren't selling and you want to remove them, try moving them around first. If you've done a booth reset but you keep moving things kind of around, try moving things that aren't selling to eye level, because they always say eye level is buy level.
Or take them out for a month and bring it back.
Yeah, yeah. People will walk by, and especially people that frequent your mall a lot, they'll walk by and say, oh, nothing's changed, I'm not going to even bother. And you could have things that have changed, but if it's not obvious, like we're bad. We've been bad about that lately, because unless it's in that front zone, it looks kind of the same.
And people don't, I mean, there's a lot of people that'll come into the mall to walk every week or so.
Yeah.
They'll come in, that's their weekly outing, to come in and just get some exercise, see what's happening. And if your booth looks the same, they're going to go, okay, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And they'll go by.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to have something in there, some color, some difference that's going to go, oh, what have they done now? Let me go over there and see.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And then what if you say, well, I've tried all this. I've heard these things before.
Yeah, because we're not telling you anything new.
No, we're not telling you anything new. Try to sell it somewhere else. Etsy, eBay, whatnot. I mean, we're going to start whatnot, because we've had some things that I know will sell given the right customer. But I just don't think we're currently reaching the right customer.
Right.
But with those things, but it's not anybody's fault.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just different.
Yeah, it's just different. And then sometimes you just have to donate it. I mean,
it's just learning.
Yeah, it's all a learning experience, because sometimes...
Didn't we donate a bunch of primitive stuff? Or?
We did donate a bunch of primitive stuff.
Primitive stuff does not sell for us.
And it also could have been because we were trying to force it. We had our farmhouse booth and we were trying to force it into that pigeonhole. And if you don't love it and you're just trying to force it in, then it's not going to get the attention it deserves, and somebody else could love it in their booth or at their home or something. Who knows? We're always learning.
Right. What was the thing that sold that I said I never thought that would sell in a million years, and it sold right away? There was something. Do you remember?
I don't remember. I remember you saying that. I don't remember what it was. I remember that carousel at Christmas time, but that we pretty much thought that was going to sell.
Not as fast as it did, though.
No, not the day we put it out.
I mean, within an hour it sold. I mean, you'll have some things like that. You'll have people come by and you just hit the right person at the right time, and you were lucky, and they bought it right away.
Yeah.
And we've had that happen 3 or 4 times. But most of the time, you have to sit and be patient and wait for that person who's going to love it like you do to come by.
Yeah. Or hope they see it on social media.
Yeah, like Jennifer said, this is a learning game. So make sure if you can't remember these things, like me, I can't remember anything, just write it down. Write these trends you're seeing down and keep it in a notebook, and then look for the trends in your trends. And it's gonna help you in the long run, and you'll enjoy it more if you don't feel so much stress of the work.
Yeah.
I know we've gone through that too.
Oh yeah, where you feel like you're constantly chasing the next holiday or the next reset or something, you
Or
need
you
to
feel like your work is for nothing.
Yeah.
But it's actually always for something. It's
Mhm.
I mean, we had to start looking at like it's time for us to spend together. We come out every week. We make a little money. The business is pretty self-sustaining right now. We don't have to take any money out of our pockets anymore to pay rent or pay for our yearly annual report or those kind of things.
Yeah.
But it's just it could build into something bigger.
Yeah. For sure.
For sure it could. And then but the big thing about it is we have time every week that we spend together.
Yeah.
That makes it worth it. And so you're going to have to find what makes it worth it for you, because if you don't, you're going to quit. It'll just eventually get too much and you'll quit.
Yeah. And don't ever get to a point where it's harming your mental health.
No.
Because there was a point where I felt like, before we got a storage building, that I felt like I was drowning in inventory. Because everywhere I looked in my house, it was everywhere. So even if you have to spend, if you have it, get that storage building or get rid of that stuff. Do something.
Separate a space in your house to store this stuff, because you need to be able to close that door and get away from it.
Yeah.
It's just like any other job. Even though it is a side hustle, you need to be able to close that door and relax.
Yeah. You need to have definitive work-life balance, because otherwise
it's too much.
It's too much and you'll just keep constantly thinking about it. So sometimes I need to take my own advice.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. I'm a little bit more laid back than Jennifer.
Yeah, a little bit.
But you just gotta chalk it up to I'm important. My mental health is important. The booth is important, but my sanity is more important. And do the things that it takes to make you feel good about doing what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. One final thought is build a community. Build a community on social media. Join those Facebook groups. There's always people in there asking questions, giving tips.
Now, these are vendor groups.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
vendor
things
groups
where you're going to drive customer engagement.
Yeah. Vendor groups that you always get really valuable information in there. Then you can use social media to create those connections with other vendors. Vendors at your mall, and your mall, those people are your support system.
Right.
And
I know Whitehall is great for us.
Yeah, the Whitehall is great. The people are great. The vendors are great. And we've enjoyed every minute that we've been there. But you have to grow those connections.
And make sure that you're at a mall that you enjoy being at. That's going to be
a lot of stress off your plate.
Right. A lot of stress off your plate. Because if you like being there and you like the people, you don't have to like everybody.
Yeah.
That's just like, but if you enjoy most of it, it's going to be better for you in the long run.
Yeah.
And easier.
Because if you don't like being there, you're not going to want to go over there and fluff your booth and work your booth, because you're just going to hate. I mean, it's going to be going at a job that you hate. Like, imagine you've ever had that feeling that you
I don't have to imagine.
Well, yeah, me neither. But like, you just could dread going over there. You don't want to have to feel that way. So make sure when you're choosing a mall, you have that. I mean, the feels. You have the feels, and you're not just going somewhere because it has an open booth.
Yeah, I mean, you some days you may have to spend all day there.
Yeah.
So make sure you like where you're at.
Yeah.
And that you're engaging with other vendors. And I mean, that's very important. We've said this 2 or 3 times. Other vendors could have tips, even in your mall. Okay, I found that this is selling. This is selling pretty good for us. How about you?
Yeah.
Are you doing okay? And then the support staff at the mall, they can help you with things like brooms, and they usually have things you can borrow to help if you've forgotten something. Yeah. Which is it sounds like not much, but in the long run it is. It's a lot.
Yeah. And
very appreciated.
Like at our mall, I've had so many people say, like, write me on Facebook Marketplace and say, I love this piece, but I don't have anybody to help me. They'll put it in the car for them. Like, there are services that in the long run just take so much off your plate that seem very small, but overall just make your experience that much better.
We hope this video is helpful and that it answers some of the questions you've got. I know that we've had those questions before we started. If it's different for you, let us know that too in the comments. We'd like to hear from you because, this is our experience. It could be different from yours. You have things that impact you. Maybe your area is in a tourist area and you have handmade items sell good for you. And how do you price?
Yeah.
And, we are always learning. There's always better ways to do things. And the name of the game is to try. And if that doesn't work, adjust and try again. And it's just, we're not going to fail. We might choose to quit. Yeah. As far as we're concerned, this has been a big success. And, is it a success for you? Do you find the mental strain sometimes too much? Or how do you combat that?
Yeah.
So those things could be helpful for other people. You don't know. You never know. Just like we don't know what's going to sell, we don't know what's helpful.
We'd be happy to share. If you have a specific question, then you put it in the comments down below. We'd be happy to do a part 2.
Make sure, I hate this part, but it's necessary. We, like, subscribe, share this video if you found it helpful. Turn on the notification bell. So when our next video is out, and like we said, we're going to be on vacation pretty soon, but we will have videos for our vacation time that we're away for you to watch.
Yeah. Next week we're going to be revisiting my guest bedroom.
Oh yeah,
exciting things are happening down there, and then
I still don't have my organized craft room.
No, that's next on the agenda. So
I don't know if you want to see that.
Oh, people love a good mess. Especially if it's so nice and clean and organized after we're done.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. You'll be in craft bliss.
For what, 10 minutes?
Until you start another project. And then it's like chaos. So stick around if you want to see that next video, and we will see you guys next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.